everyone. I think we're back.
I believe so. I hope so.
Oh. My name's Ratasia. I'm joined tonight by Crimson Avix. We're right in the middle. We just started about 12 minutes ago of our weekly Final Fantasy IV free enterprise race between Chakasura, Poidric, Trenton, and Aizen Teyama. So let's break it down so far. Apologies for everything, but we're going to get this going for you guys. Glitches are turned on. Free lunch is turned on. K1 is turned on. So it's relatively easy to get everything done. And then it's, no double XP. It's T2S2. And if you don't know your glitches, J items are turned off. It's just all sorts of interesting combinations that are going on right now.
Absolutely. We've already seen our runners really develop a good starting party with all the free characters. We do have early underground access. We had the magma key at the antlion spot, which was our dolls. We started with an adamant, and we had the tower key over with bedward. So some good starts. We've seen a lot of item duping already for unlimited money, but our shops aren't going to do the best for us.
That's absolutely right. The unlimited item duping is kind of fun. And if we find an edge, that would be absolutely amazing to be able to dupe something so he's just doing nothing but throwing. But we're pretty set with our parties. We have mage-heavy parties. We started out with the twins, found Tella in the Watery Pass, found Yang in Mount Hob, so kind of vanilla-ish right there. But we also have Rydia up in Damsian, and then we found a Kane and an Edward over in Mysidians. No one's really gone up Mount Ordeals yet to check to see who's there. And of course, we still have some other character locations to check, but we have the tower key for the underworld. We have our access to the underworld in the magma key. Now it's just a lot of running around and figuring out what we're going to do from here.
Yeah, right now, Ethan is one of our two that are running around in the underworld. We also have Trenton down there as well. And we did see Ethan go to Land of the Summon Monsters. And Trenton will be heading there as well shortly, just doing a little bit of shopping here first. And, well, with all the money, I guess take what you can get from these shops.
You might as well. The diamond armor, you're not going to find endgame stuff. Like, if you're still wearing stuff that you found in a shop, you've probably done something wrong at some point, or not opened a ton of treasure chests and you're just kind of YOLOing it. But, in this kind of scene, that may be what ends up happening, because you're probably not going to be able to find you're not just going to find adamants lying around like you are in some other of the higher T-flag seeds.
So at least we do have a decent shop, because we do have our Cure 3s available, and those are always important to have in these flags. Being able to heal with those while maybe saving other methods for or other roles for characters like Porum is always nice.
Absolutely. So we have the Mom Bomb. Looks like Chakasura is just finishing that up, and Poidric is just starting his Mom Bomb fight in Fabul, and our king is going to give us a wonderful pink tail. Yay. Well, actually, yes, yay, because that might be our only adamant armor that we can get.
Yeah, and with the parties we may be seeing, depending on how they do their grind and everything else, that adamant armor may actually come in key to allowing characters to survive a big bang maybe a little bit later.
Absolutely. It has some high possibilities there for us. And Chaco is now coming up here, going to find his Yang. Now, this ought to be interesting because he's got a party full of casters. Tella is probably the weakest caster of them all, but the only one that can really get weak relatively quickly. And yeah, Chakasura says no to Yang.
Yeah, Chakasura definitely is going by the way of the mage party, which, once again, we don't have sirens, and our experience grind is going to be a little more difficult with our double experience flag turned off. So they will be really looking to utilize things like the D machine for their grinds.
And I did not see the Feymarch key item, but it was just a spoon at this point in time. So they've gotten the adamant, the spoon, a lot of key items that really end chains. The pink tail. This is going to be Chakasura's first dip down into the underworld. Everyone else, I think, has been down and dipped their pinky toe in there at very least.
Yeah, with having the tower key, at the point that they were down, Aizen didn't have it. I don't believe he visited Bedward at all. But Trenton may elect to perhaps look at doing at least the tower key part of Babel, just to maybe look for another item here. Or he may choose to do what Aizen did and visit Yang and then go for 2 key items at Fabul.
That would be nice, and it does look like using that Sylph summon. Sylph can be quite powerful early, especially if you're short on white mages. Now, we have ourselves a Porum, but we see Aizen Tayama has actually equipped Porum with the Heroine Robe and I believe the Power Staff. So Porum's a frontline fighter right now for Aizen Tayama, and all the runners really have the capability of using that.
Yeah, it looks like Trenton's going to be making Rydia his frontline fighter with her Blitz Whip and Black Belt.
I gotta think that Trenton picked up that Heroine Robe as well.
Yes, he did. Elected not to put it on Kidia, though.
That's interesting, especially with whips. Whips generally, I believe the Flame Whip in particular, or the Dragon Whip, reduces her magic effectiveness. So I don't think the Blitz Whip would do that, so I think he's fine at that point. But...
And man, on Aizen's side, well, the trip to Yang is worth it. The crystal is behind that.
Sheila with the goodies.
So Trenton is heading right now to visit Yang. Cannot smack him with any pan, but the pan doesn't matter because Sheila gives the crystal the first way. But now we need to find a method of grinding, and well, we still have either a pass or dark crystal to find before we can get our access to Zeramis.
Yeah, and I like what Aizen is doing right now. He's going to be going up Mount Ordeals. He knows that this is going to be a smart play anyway because it'll unlock Tella's ability to use Weak. It's the key item, so he might end up finding the Dark Crystal or the Pass. The Pass is mixed in with our key items. It's not going to be in an item shop. Oh, here's a duplicate Edward on the way up. Nah, Edward. Thanks, bruh. But the third thing I like about this play is that it's just kind of naturally in the progression based on what his levels are. He's kind of in the mid-teens right now, and the bosses shouldn't be too terribly difficult for this particular spot.
Now, something else that's a little important to consider is as they're going through and doing this, we've already seen a lot of the items that can be replaced by the past. I believe the only one that's still out there that can be replaced is the Legend Sword. So even if we would find Cecil, a lot of runners probably would elect to just not choose him because Excalibur would not be able to be forged.
That's some edge case scenarios, though. I don't know if every runner knows all the items that the past can replace. So it'll be real interesting to see if that ends up being the case at this point.
We do have the Mega Sisters up at standard Mylon spot, so finding the Sylph summon in the underworld is going to be great for Aizen going through these battles, because the healing and the good damage output is going to be very beneficial.
Absolutely. And looks like Mindy every cycle is getting off some great attacks. Dropped both Palem and Porum right now. Poidric looks like is at a slightly higher level than Aizen, so he might have a slightly easier time with this particular fight, but they're going to be neck and neck. The advantage, though, still goes to Aizen because he has that crystal. Don't think Poidric quite has been over in that direction yet. Chakasura is on the right path, though.
And we are just down to Sandy on Aizen's side, so should be able to get through this fairly quickly, and we'll definitely go see them save afterwards, because this is a battle that you really don't want to do again anyway. So they'll go ahead, save, and then we'll see who our Mylon Z encounter is.
All right, switched, and let's see. What are you gonna do, Aizen Teyama? And Shakasura rewarded with his crystal as well. All right, Aizen is going to show us boss number is Vivales, and so happy he has Kane right now.
Yeah, not having Kane for this fight, you would actually have to really overlevel just to be able to get back here and make your way through Vivales, just because of the high ability to evade when in the tornado form. So you want to be able to knock her out of tornado form. Trenton making his way through the Mom Bomb fight, so he will be able to not only grab his pink tail, but will also be rewarded with his crystal once he talks to Sheila.
Oh, King and Queen of Upland is in Baron. So it looks like Chakasura wants to pick up a Sid.
Yeah, really quick and easy first fight there, with that pretty much being a free fight. Do have to deal with a little bit of damage taken, but we get a Lunar boss as our second one, and it is Plague.
This could be interesting, but with bow and arrow on Rydia, should be relatively quickly. Trenton did end up finding his crystal as well, so we are only Poidric now does not have his crystal, but is kind of neck and neck with Aizen Teyama up on Mount Ordeals at this point in time.
Yeah, and we see on Aizen's side some of the funny glitching that can happen with other bosses in this specific spot, how he's actually getting the damage rolls before the damage animation comes up on the characters with Vivales. but does clear out Vivalis, and we will see what key item we get here, as well as getting Tella all of his good spells.
Oh, Chakasura clutching that out. 3 enemies had fallen to that death. He was racing to the end. Luca Key for Chakasura is rewarded with the Luca Key and Sid, so that's going to be a nice grind spot for Chakasura.
Absolutely. Did it for the item, not for Sid, immediately dismissing Sid.
Huh. I mean, I get it, but I don't know why you would do that particular fight then. Unless you're just trying to level at this point in time.
Very well could be a possibility. And we get the Earth Crystal from Mount Ordeals.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit, I think.
Yeah, the last thing you want is a bunch of fetch quests, but given where we are, where we have found so many terminating items, it's not a surprise that we'll probably see things like that in the Twin Harp, rather than something immediate like the Dark Crystal or something like that.
Well, at this point, it's looking like if we're going for efficiency, the tower down in the underworld is going to be our best option. Most runners have... I take it back. Chakasura and Triton have the tower, so they will be able to knock out 2 key item locations in one go if they head down that way, if they're comfortable with their levels. They are still a little bit under-leveled right now.
So we will see where Izan chooses to go now for further progression. Still needs to find some sort of access to Zeramus plus a good grinding spot. Doesn't have the Lucky Key or the Dark Crystal yet, and those are really the 2 key items that you need for a good, decent grind spot in these flags. So we'll see where they elect to go for their next item, while all of the other 3 runners are currently dealing with ordeals.
Poidric just had almost rough Vivalis fight. Man, that was pretty close there. It looks like Eisen is going over to Baron, likely going to be picking up that Luca Key as well, but in a little bit better position in terms of levels, plus a fully charged up Tella. And we do have our first forfeit of the evening. Christopher Workin has one of the other runners, very, very talented runner, has said, nah, this seat is too much for me. and called it GG Christopher.
Yeah, these flags, as we said, are nothing short of interesting, and can be very intimidating because of the long, tedious process to gain levels and find good items. Expect most of our runners to go into Zeramus under-equipped to what you would normally see in pre-enterprise race.
Yeah, I think the trolliest thing from my perspective is the no J items. I'm just so used to having the J items, doing all the league races right now, that not having J items is about the worst thing I could possibly think of. So that I think some of our runners are going to be struggling with that, because those J items can really help. They're worth 5 to 10 levels, or can make some things trivial.
Yeah, I would say maybe for some of these battles with where we are, the absence of things like the Silk Web and Moon Veils or Star Veils is just as important as the lack of Sirens.
Absolutely, because right now, I mean, if they're looking for some easy levels, what you would do is grab some hourglasses, go ahead and go to like Ebland, and there's 3 trap treasure chests there.
And Rupal, Japanese or J items are Japanese items. They are items that existed in the Japanese version of the game, but were removed for the American release. And they basically give the ability to use a lot of spells through item usage and call like the strongest enemy, which is what the Siren does, which is very ideal for grinding.
Absolutely. And you know, the J items, because they items that can effectively cast pretty much any spell. You know, you can, you know, an early Gaia drum, for example, can really make some of the multi-level bosses trivial because you're casting Quake at level 10 on everything, and it's amazing. And then the hourglasses have their uses. The star veils and moon veils can make fights trivial in terms of casting wall and flanks. They are so nice, and then not having them in this particular seed, it's definitely a free seed in that it's a K1, so there's fewer locations that the items can be, and then there's free lunch, so you can get a full party relatively quickly. But other than that, this is going to be kind of a slog for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of benefits that they do have, like the free lunch, like the fact that they can use glitches, so we do have access to Warp because of Tella and potentially Palom, so they will be able to glitch to get the Luca item as well. So that will benefit them, but then the lack of really good quality items is definitely going to be difficult to deal with. So we have Izan getting their tower key as well, so now they can go ahead and do all of Babel, plus they got the Luca key, so they will have access to at least a little bit of grinding if they choose to do the trap doors.
Well, Izan, I believe, came over here specifically because he was lured here by Earth Crystal, so now he'll be able to open a ton of these treasure chests in the basement. So he's really doing some pretty efficient routing right here. No guarantees that he's going to find anything necessarily worthwhile, but man, oh man, if he does, this might be a big game changer here.
Chokosura and Trenton making their way through Valvalis pretty much at the same time, so they will be coming across their Earth Crystal relatively soon.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see where both Izan Tayama and Poidric are going to go as of right now. Poidric finds some life potions and life potions are absolutely nice. They can certainly be beneficial in certain grind sort of situations. Izan looks like he's on his way to the Tower of Zot. They're kind of taking things almost in a vanilla game order because each boss will get progressively more difficult. And they're leveling up and grinding effectively on the bosses right at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure where, but Izan did find a dancing dagger, which will allow Rydia to deal some decent damage, at least by throwing the item. So at least he'll have another option if he doesn't want to use black magic on Rydia to go along with her summons.
All right, so Izan is going to be the first one to show us what our bosses up here in the Tower of Zot are going to be. Meanwhile, both Chakasura and Trenton are kind of racing down here. Poidric is the only one without the crystal, which, as we know, is hidden by Yang's wife, Sheila. Is hanging onto it. We have to go down there, give a visit to Yang in the underworld, and then say, yo, your man's hiding out from you.
And there we just saw Aizen, do the MP underflow glitch to give Tella pretty much all the magic in the world he could need for this fight. So, Bahamut at the Magus Sister spot.
That's kind of intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it looks like both Chakasura and Aizen have the MP underflow glitch activated. I'm not particularly good at that particular glitch, so sometimes I have a hard time seeing it. But they're both going very, very well.
Yeah, about the biggest problem here for Bahamut at this spot is there is quite a bit of HP, so you have to really get through a lot of it before Bahamut gets its Mega Flare off. But we do see Tella applying Wall to Rydia, so that will at least be one character that does not get blasted by the Mega Nuke.
So he's going to try, and at least he will be able to get through because the Mega Nuke will reflect off Rydia and then will kill Bahamut, of course. Unfortunately, a Mega Nuke is still a Mega Nuke, and pretty much everyone else is going to die. And we see Chakasura is actually... Oh, he's got Odin over here on Rydia. He's going to try to get some free cheap levels over here in Ebland, opening up treasure chests over here.
The other benefit to opening up some of these treasure chests is the fact that he will also be able to potentially get a few better items than you would get just from opening the normal unprotected chest. So there may be a good couple items that he gets out of this as well. And the Mega Nuke finishing off Bahamut as well as the other characters. So Aizen passed boss number 1.
Looks like Poidrix doing some inventory management here. Chakasura is going through here. Odin did not quite work. I was wondering if that was going to work because they're skeletons, and skeletons are immune to the instant death mechanics.
So now we will see our second Zot boss. And we also have Rosa sitting here.
The superior white mage. Do you take her? Do you take her at this point, knowing that you've already dumped quite a bit of time into these levels?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting decision to have to make, and we get dupe Rydia here, so we have 2 sets of twins at the current moment, but Rydia will just be replaced by Rydia.
All right, Aizen, moment of truth. Yes, is replacing my girl Porum with the superior Rosa.
So it looks like Chokasura is content to go ahead and head to Zod as well. We'll be doing their looting here first in Troya, but we'll probably head to Zod right afterwards, while Trenton is actually heading back into the underworld to go to Dwarf Castle, it looks like.
Yeah, and as Nitsky is pointing out in chat, it's not a bad idea. Rosa's HP does get much higher. Porum, while a white mage, that will do in a pinch, especially with these flags, knowing that we're going to have some trouble grinding up to the right levels. Rosa's HP scales much better than Porum. So if you're trying to get to the point where you can kind of out HP the big bangs for Zeromus, Rose is going to be the superior option there.
So we have Mylon at the spot where Calbrenna is normally fought, and we do have Dark Elf in the second boss spot in Zot, so I wouldn't say two overly difficult battles in each of these spots compared to what they could have had, so both runners should be able to handle these without too much issue.
I absolutely agree. Mylan with his ghasts are generally, I think, pretty easy, all things considered. His lit ones, don't hit too hard most of the time. And yeah, the Dark Elf's already gone for Eisen, so GG there.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the character's HP and you see why Dark Elf isn't too scary at that spot. Able to eliminate without much difficulty at all.
We see a Tiara, kind of a best in slot, well, not quite best in slot, but decent in slot item on sale in the Land of the Summoned Monsters. Poidric is on the right path if he just go north after here. Just go north after you go here, Poidric, please.
And we do get a pan from the trip to Zot, so just a little bit more fetch questing, not really what Vitazi or what Eisen wants to see at that point. So probably going to go back underground, may go ahead and check the Tower of Babel as well as smacking Sid with the pan, or Yang with the pan.
Yeah, I gotta think, if you're Eisen, in this particular flag set, you're sitting here at 45 minutes. You've had the crystal for 20 minutes or so now. So you gotta think, you gotta commit to everything that you're doing. So he went up, committed to the Tower of Zot play, and says, you know what, I gotta follow this through until the end of the chain. So he's gonna come down here, smack Young in the face with a pan, because that's what all good wives do, and return.
And the fairy did give a middle sword, or middle katana, which isn't horrible, but not having edge and pretty much not going to pick up edge at this point, it's pretty much useless. Maybe sell for a little bit of money, but nothing else.
Yeah, I can't imagine us doing there. Looks like Trenton's up in Tower of Babel, doing that lower Tower of Babel run. Where did Chakasura find that Bahamut? Because no one else has been using Bahamut. That's big for Rydia.
Yeah, Bahamut on Rydia is not only good at this point, but will be extremely useful when fighting Zeramis as well.
Doesn't he counter Bahamut with something? Like if you're in a mage-heavy party like this, we're probably going to see some reflect strats at some point in time. But Bahamut you can't reflect off, so I think it would automatically trigger some sort of counter from Zeramis. But I'm not entirely certain on what he would counter with.
And yes, RPG makes a good point. Possibly Avalon is where Bahamut was found there.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
And we are going to get the pan check here from Eisen, so potentially could have our access to Zeramis depending on what it is. But no, just a Sand Ruby, just another character.
Yeah, I can't imagine that we're going to go turn that in right now. That would have been great if Sheila had both our crystals for access. Sheila. I only half love you right now. We have masterclass strats being talked about in chat.
Yeah, worth noting that I did actually miss what item was in the Dwarf Castle, or if Trenton even completed it. So it'll be interesting to see, because I do remember him doing the Mylon fight, but not what came after.
What? Okay. Eisen found Edge asleep with the Sand Ruby and did not pick him up.
Yeah, Eisen must... my guess is at that point, they were looking for Fu, and if it wasn't Fu, they were just leaving. Because really, going the mage direction that they're going, I have to imagine that would be the only one they were looking for.
I mean, I can see both sides of it. I can absolutely see both sides of it. So I have a hard time criticizing him. And sometimes if you've mentally prepared yourself and you've already sold off some equipment that would be great for him, you're just like, nah, I'm good. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, not taking Edge, though. We do have pretty much 3 useless items sitting in our inventory right now. We have the Adamant, which we determined we are not getting the Legend Sword. We have a Spoon that we can't use unless we have Edge, and we have a Pink Tail, which is useless until we get the hook.
Eisen is just showing us his pro strats, guys. That's all he's doing. He's like, I don't need Edge. I know it would be an immediate level upgrade. I'm good. Well, says, I hope Hook is on the moon. It absolutely cannot be. This is a K1 seed, so there are no key items on the moon whatsoever.
And it looks like Trenton is using these alert bots to help him farm some levels here in Tower of Babel, which is not a bad idea considering what his party's level is currently compared to what he would have to deal with the boss at the very top of the tower. So not a bad decision, but it looks like we either have the Gauntlet or the Water Hag up here at the top.
I think it's the Water Hag, yeah.
This actually might not be, because I think the palette changes up here. So this could definitely be Mylon Z. Oh, nope, it is the Gauntlet. So a long fight at the top of the tower.
I mean, but it's still not a bad fight. Like, he's under-leveled for where he's at right now. So, if anything, you're a little bit happy to see this, knowing that you'll be able to get some quick and easy experience here.
Okay, so we see what the second boss in Dwarf Castle is, and it's Odin. So, that's something itself.
I mean, it's a relatively low HP spot, and hey, we just got Rydia all grown up. We don't get to see Indra all that often used, so I'm a little bit excited to see this.
Yeah, between Indra and Lit 2, Odin not too difficult here. We'll probably go down before... Yes, absolutely, with that 4,200 worth of damage.
Trenton just passed a great milestone. Palem just learned Quake. So he's in very good position right now.
So we do have Eisen continuing through their football Gauntlet grind, which I personally absolutely hate every time I run into the Gauntlet in Free Enterprise C, just because it takes so long.
Yeah, I call this my I need to go get a beer fight because I just kind of put a weight on my attack button and get up and go get a beer.
So, Poitras actually goes down and triggers getting Luca's item, which is the pass. So it's a very good item, but does not elect to use the warp glitch to go get the item from the sealed cave.
Oh, he must not know. Oh, Poitras. But we're in no mode right now, guys.
Yeah, Poitras, though, does not have the crystal and does not know its location, so they're actually going to dive Babel before heading over to Yang.
So all of our runners have one piece to the puzzle.
It looks at this point like Chokosura might be our first runner to get both pieces. I mean, we may potentially have the Dark Crystal up here at the top of Babel as well, but Chokosura going to be getting their pass relatively soon. And yeah, we immediately see the Quake getting used here with the Gauntlet on Trenton's side.
Yeah, and I didn't doubt that even for a second that he was going to pull that out. Aizen is still, I think, going to be the first one to complete this entire portion.
Yeah, and I think we have Bahamut getting ready to be launched on my lineup on Chokosura's side.
All the magics, man.
Yeah, Trenton gonna make quick work of this gauntlet. Aizen only has 2 more sections left. They have this Weeper, Imp, and Water Hag spot, and then also 1 more general spot, and then they'll finally find out what item we're going to get here at the top of Babel.
Let's not forget that Trenton also already completed the key location, so he'll be just running down. I believe Aizen will still have to stop and kill those that imp spot.
Yeah, typically I like to save the tower for the walk back down just because it's a nice reprieve from this battle at the top. But yeah, Trenton is making a lot of ground up on Aizen right now.
Absolutely. And I would say the reason why you would do the top, because if you're only looking for one item, you go up, do the top, and if you happen to get it, then you save yourself a cutscene. Chokosura is going to be on his Odin fight right now, where he is all grown up.
Yeah, immediately we see the Lit 2 charged, which will do a lot of damage to Odin because he's weak to Lit. And once he preps for his ultimate attack, Lit does have a chance to do even more damage, but it doesn't even get there on Chokosura's side. Takes out Odin as well, so Chokosura is going to have access to endgame.
All right, so Aizen finishing up the fight, and I think Trenton's right there as well.
And just the package here.
That's disappointing. All right, so Chokosura is going to have access to the pass, but I hope Chokosura remembers we can warp right now. Warp, Chokosura, warp.
Chokosura did not warp either, so they had the pass, they have everything they need, but with not having Dark Crystal, they will be relying on possibly the trapdoors here to do all their grinding.
So still we won't get to see. But yeah, I got to think trapdoors is probably the more attractive option. We have the pass, but we don't have the dark crystal, so no D machine grind. It's either Sylph Cave. Wait, what are you, what are you doing, Chokasura? You have it all, Chokasura. What are you doing?
Maybe electing to do some grinding here instead of at the trapdoors would be a possible guess. And we do have Triton on his escape now from Babel while Eisen is taking on the Dark Imps, but we are going to see if the Dark Crystal comes from the second key item from Babel. And no, it is the Baron key.
Oh, I hope that doesn't bait him. I hope that doesn't bait him. Yeah, the debate in chat right now is Chakasura is probably going for 10 key items in order to make it a little bit easier to level grind. But that doesn't matter right at the moment. In these current experience flags, it's going to be a long, slow grind no matter what.
And Trenton is going back in to take on Mylon and then Odin, so he will get his pass. And having the Luca key, he will have access to a grind spot. So Trenton might be our first one to really start progressing towards endgame. We do have Eisen exiting Babel right now as Poydrek is continuing or just finished their gauntlet, so they are awarded with the package and will probably head back down and take on the Dark Imps as well.
We kind of figured it, you know, when we saw the flags. You look at it and you're like, man, the grind is going to be the most difficult part because there's no easy way to grind up. And really, that's what it's looking down to. Trenton is going to be getting his pass here shortly. Chakasura has pass and crystal. Trying to go for 10 key items, which is not a good thing in these flags because 10 key items means literally nothing.
Oh man, and Eisen is electing to go Baron. So we will see if the Baron route maybe leads to Dark Crystal here.
That's a possibility. There's only one item here, and let's see. The items still in play are the hook and the twin harp, aren't they? And hook, twin harp, rat tail.
Yeah, hook, twin harp, rat tail, and Dark Crystal. So not many options left.
And one of them is completely gettable that both Chakasura and Poydrek avoided, and I'm
Yeah, a lot of races now do not or disable the glitches, so a lot of runners just may actually forget that they can do that at that point because they're just so accustomed to holding down after completing the dwarven bosses that they just don't warp. But we do have Odin here on Trenton's side. Should be relatively easy. And, well, we have another vanilla boss, Baigen, at his normal spot.
Do you smell that? It's Baigen! See, that was a play on the old It's Bacon commercial for the dog treats. And if I have to explain it, it's not funny anymore. So...
So Trenton does make his way through Odin, and we may actually see a warp after this to find out what that item is in the sealed cave. We have Poydrek finally going to visit Yang, so in a matter of about 2 minutes, they will finally get their crystal as well.
The nice thing is that while Poidric is going to be the last one with his crystal, and the other runners have had it for up to 40 minutes now, everyone still had to run around and do other things to try to find their access to Zeromus and the Moon eventually. So he hasn't lost a ton of time in the grand scheme of things.
And yes, we do get the warp from Trenton, so our sealed cave item is the hook. So Trenton is going to be maybe our, one of our 2 runners that will have access to the adamant armor. I would have to think that Eisen will also warp out to grab that.
I certainly hope so. Yeah, he gets the pass. Trenton likes what he sees. Yeah, that hook is going to be nice because the adamant armor is going to make all the difference for the grind that's about to happen.
And apparently Poidric did visit Deadwood at some point, and I may have just missed it, but does have the Luca key, so probably will do a little bit of grinding, or maybe not grinding at all. That looks like they are making a dive right to the back, which is going to be rough depending on what boss is sitting back there at the back of the sealed cave.
Oh, Poidric. Poidric. I think... I don't know if this is just an unfamiliarity with the glitches that are available to you when the glitch list is turned off, or maybe just forgetting that we're glitchless right now.
Yeah, and we do see Trenton picking up Yang, opting to give up Tella, so that tells me he will not be using D-Machine to grind unless he was able to already grab Weak with Palom, but I don't think Palom's anywhere near that level yet. No, with the HP, definitely not.
No, and I think, if you have Weak, you're not really looking to grind too much more on Palom at this point anyway.
So, Chokosura did receive their package, and they are taking on the Dark Imps right now.
Alright, Poidric, GG, you have the hook there. And the rat tail in Baron. So really, at this point, we know that the Darkness Crystal has to be hidden behind the Twin Harp, which is...
behind Rat Tail.
Behind Rat Tail, so yeah. So if we get to the Darkness Crystal, we've really gone off on a tangent.
Yeah, and it does look like Eisen is immediately heading towards Dwarf Castle, so we'll be able to grab their pass as well as probably getting hooked. So we'll see if they elect to turn in the Pink Tail as well. I definitely would, just because of the lack of valuable armors at this point.
Here comes Eisen going to be picking up his pass after these fights.
Yeah, Trenton grabbing his little hovercraft, and will be going to pick up his adamant armor. And after that, I have to assume that it's immediately going to grind on some of the trapdoors.
Yeah, trapdoor grind is about the best option we have, unless we're going to just grind on the trapped chests and other enemies that are down in the Self Cave, but that's disgusting sounding. Worth noting, we don't have any runners who have finished. I think we have 19 participants in this community race. We had one forfeit earlier, but no one has finished as of yet.
So we have Trenton heading into the sealed cave, so he will be starting his grind, and we'll see where it puts him at the end. Eisen is finishing up Mylon, and we still have Poidric going after this antline here.
All right, so Biggin showing us what he has, and yeah, Trenton's got to be setting up his grind here directly. Looks like he's going to be doing this one. He's got a menu down. Yeah, he is turning encounters on in order to be able to do these trapdoors.
And to answer the question in chat, we did only see one runner go through Zot, and that was Eisen. He was rewarded with the pan.
Right. I was going to say, I know we saw someone do it. I thought we had another runner do it as well. Oh man, that looked really pathetic in terms of damage from Yang.
Yeah, has two charm knuckles on, but yeah, damage output at the level he's at is going to be relatively low.
Yep, that's 31,000 experience. Looks like he's getting 2 to 3 levels a person, except for Sid, who was taking a dirt nap.
And Eisen has made their way through Odin, so probably will get their hook and their pass here, and I would expect a grind very quickly afterwards.
Oh, Trenton didn't turn off his random encounter, so he had a random encounter pop up there.
And Poidric did complete Antline there in the sealed cave, so going to looks like they're going to go ahead and do Zot as well here. And I missed it, but I'm not sure if Eisen actually did the warp.
I don't know either. He is picking up a bunch of Cure 3s, so that's good.
I mean, it's not going to cost him too much. Just really the adamant armor, which is nice, but it isn't necessarily needed.
For his party, okay, he has Rosa. So as soon as he gets the levels, he'll be all right. I was going to say, in Trenton's case, he opted not to go for Rosa. Well, he didn't even have the option. So he's going to have a Porum. Putting that on Porum for more survivability for Zero Mess, I think, is definitely going to be a good play there.
Yeah, and as Trenton goes through, it shows why runners elect not to do trapdoors unless it's really their only option, because the trapdoors do have their disrupt attack, which automatically KOs one of your characters. So the grinding is a little more tedious because you do want to try to make sure all your characters are alive to gain the experience. But their HP is relatively low enough that they're not much of a danger other than that disrupt attack.
Shakasura is also bypassing, is not coming down here to grind, is checking for key items. Maybe he wants that Dark Crystal for a D-Machine grind?
Quite possible. And it does look like Eisen is actually immediately running towards that item as well. So all three of our runners who elected not to do the warp glitch are still diving for that item. We'll see if they actually choose to do the trapdoor, or if they're going to continue to look for that dark crystal in order to have that D machine or moon access grinding.
Well, both Chakasura and Eisen have the rat tail, so they might continue to follow that through. Trenton, comfortable with the trapdoor grind, getting comfortable with his party. He's got kind of actually a heavy melee party right now with Sid in the middle row. So he's probably going to be in good shape once he's finished with his grind. Just go. Oh. Attack from behind. Right before you do a trapdoor. Koidrick thinking about Rosa. It's like, which twin do I want? Corum? Palem? Rydia? Who are you gonna do, Koidrick? This is a lot of questioning.
And opts to discard Palom. So going with the double white mage.
That's interesting.
But with the equips that he's immediately going with, Rosa is not going to be a mage. She's going to be attacking.
All right. Eisen, meanwhile, is doing well on the antlion himself.
Yeah, having Self is definitely a benefit on bosses like these, because you can deal damage and have another method of keeping your party healed up, which, with the damage output that Antlion has, is not a bad thing. Rosa is doing a lot of damage as well, which is great.
Absolutely. And down goes the Antlion. Man, look, Trenton is doing great with his levels. I know this is a slower grind, and we anticipated it being a slower grind, but both his Sid and Yang are already right at that 2,000 health mark, which is great. Kane's right behind. Orb and Palem, we expect it to be behind. Palem is going to have just slightly more HP on the whole process. What? Oh, okay. Chaco is landing here. Did not know you could land there and do that.
It is probably going to turn into Rat Tail soon, so there's quite the possibility that we may hear Edward play his harp. Yeah, we'll see what Chokasura decides to do.
Are you going for the Dark Crystal? I mean, you seem to be going for the Dark Crystal, Chakasura. Man, that is so slick. I'm going to park the hovercraft there every time now.
And folks, we are going to get to hear some Edward.
Oh, yeah. And we're already on his audio, so we're doing great.
So it looks like we have Eisen going ahead and turning in their pink and rat tails as well. So they may be following suit and heading towards Cave Magnus.
Oh, equipping Rydia with the heroine, which I prefer personally. If I still have Rydia, I would prefer her to do that. All right, we're getting ready. Here's our first round Dark Elf.
Opting to not inflict damage on themselves, letting Dark Elf just end the battle. So we'll be about another minute. And yes, we do have Eisen heading there as well. So 2 of our players using the Twin Harp to get the Dark Crystal.
Well, and as we've seen, the D-Machine grind is still pretty slow. Triton powering through as best he can. No double XP. But here we go. What shall we hear?
Oh, nice. Got some Dancing Mad here.
Oh, this is, FF6, the final Kefka boss, right? Music.
Yeah, this is actually stage 4 of Dancing Mad. And man, what a wonderful fight to get in this position.
I mean, he may finish this in enough time that we can turn around and listen to it on Eisen Teyama's side too. No, Eisen is... Chalkasura is not going to be able to kill it quite fast enough.
So while we continue the fight on Choco's side, Eisen is going to be Dancing Mad as well, and it looks like we just had Trenton heal up a little bit, while Poydrick is going to face Octomom at the King spot.
And he really wanted that officer dead.
Yeah, the little bit of extra experience that they gain from that officer is definitely worth it.
No XP left behind. That's right, Nitsky. It's absolutely true.
And Eisen, just wanting no part of this, does have the officer yell for the attack, but Quake may take him out, otherwise he'll probably end up retreating. Yes.
Yeah, he's a little bit underleveled right now, so... And Chakasura is going to stop and be like, okay, oh, there's a cane at the package, so there's a reset.
And with that, we actually have Eisen now at 17 of 17.
Whew, 17 to 17 Eisen. Chalkasur is at 16 to 17. Just did not get that Baron key. Looks like they're going to get the Darkness Crystal. I imagine do a D machine grind. Trenton is still grinding on the doors.
So Chakasura getting their Lunar Whale, and Aizen is hot on their tail. We'll see what grind they elect to do, whether it is D Machine or whether they head to the moon instead. We do have Poydrek checking out the checking out the package here, and immediately resetting because no use in waiting for that cutscene for Kane.
All right, Chakasura going to the moon. Okay.
Poydrek going to turn their tails in, and using that same spot that we saw from, I believe, Aizen. So, really interesting that I've never seen that either, and two of our runners have used it tonight.
I know, right? And Chakasura is showing us who's on the moon. Who is our moon man? We haven't seen a Fu yet, so maybe it's a vanilla Fu. It's a vanilla Fu. Yeah, you're taking a Fu.
Absolutely. Fu over Tella at this point is quite a straightforward decision. Fu has survivability in the Zero Miss fight, so definitely a good decision. And we're going to go have our D Machine grind.
That does look like both Aizen and Chakasura are on their way there. Aizen... is Aizen using an MP underflow, Tella?
I would have to imagine that that's what they'll do. If Chakasura actually remembers that glitches are on, they could actually also do the same with Fusoya to just give a little bit longer to that grind fight if they would need it.
Trenton is kind of running into a rough patch right here where his white mage form is the one that keeps dying, so that's the one not getting the levels, and that's the one you need the levels on right at the moment.
Yeah, we do see Aizen setting up for MP underflow with Tella, and is able to do it, so they will definitely have a good amount of MP for this grind fight, and I believe that they're well equipped with life potions as well.
There's the reset in order to get everything lined up perfectly here.
Yeah, that first battle lets them know where they are in terms of getting that grind battle, so now it's just a matter of running around a little bit.
And Poydrek gets his crystal and realizes, I could have had this an hour ago. Chakasura also, I believe Chakasura got the fight already.
And it looks like this is going to be the fight for Aizen as well. And Trenton's still battling it out with these trapdoors and mana cores, trying to gain his level. So it will be interesting because all three of these runners could actually be heading towards their Zarmas fight at relatively the same amount of time.
Absolutely. So Chakasura is getting it set up right now. I think that might have been an early hit. I'm worried that he's going to get crushed here directly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Aizen has the wrong alert battle, so looks like they're going to choose to grind off of it. Or maybe they're just going to complete it and go from there, using Weak on the Searcher.
Chakasura has everything going, is on kind of a good spot. Oh, that's unfortunate. Fusoya passed Rydia up in the order.
Yeah, if Fusoya wouldn't have actually passed there, that would have actually been a great setup, having that heal ability in between dragons, but unfortunately did have to cycle back around in order to get Fu set up for the next week.
Yeah, that is something you have to take into consideration. Your party order. You know, I always end up messing something up in the D machine grind, so I try to avoid it. But when you can do this, this is a very, very fast grind. Oh no, and has to get set up for, yeah, there it is.
And I believe we did see Aizen go ahead and reset to try to manipulate the battle once again.
So Trenton is opting to go ahead and defeat the Antlion boss as well, hoping for some good XP there.
And Choco is making decent headway in this grind fight, so definitely doing a good job so far. I do not believe that they MP glitched Fusoya though, so they will be limited on how much grinding they can do. They may be content with the amount of experience that they'll get off of just that that number of grinds. So we'll see what they elect to do afterwards.
Oh, is this a back attack grind fight for Aizen?
And we will have a Twin Harp going on Poydric's side.
Yeah. Let's switch over and hear that glorious music.
And Aizen may have finally found their fight. We do have the front attack Searcher with Beamer, so we'll see if this is the correct fight this time.
Worth noting, everyone, and still no finishers in this race yet.
So we do have our D Machine on Aizen's side. Unfortunately, did take out the Searcher, so we'll not be able to gain too many levels from here, and actually just abandons the battle.
That's rough, because that takes some time to set up, and then once he gets it, Aizen has been struggling to get this fight set up and going properly. Chakasura seemed to get lucky, get it right off the bat, and has just been flowing.
So Trenton gonna start their ascent from the sealed cave, having completed all the trapdoors possible.
And we are Chakasura still doing it, still on the grind fight. Aizen's still working on it. Trenton, are you good? He's in the mid 40s. He might be on his way.
Is electing to save and going to heal first, so it looks like he is going to try for a few more levels elsewhere before heading up to the Zeramis fight.
Oh, looks like he's okay coming over here for Cure 3s, maybe.
He probably remembers seeing the Cure 3 somewhere in the Underworld, but doesn't remember exactly where. They are over in Tamra, so we'll probably head over there next.
Yep, and there they are. So he drops a bit of change on it, no big deal. I can drop, 1,000,000 GP. No problem.
Yeah, nothing really else to spend your money on in this seed.
So over on Chakasura's side, his levels, you got to be thinking you have to get... You're going to be doing reflect nuke strats at this point in time, trying to get Rydia and Palem nuke, and even Fusoya maybe even some nukes.
Yeah, definitely what you would believe, and having the adamant armor, you will have the ability to drop that on possibly Rydia, just to help survivability a little bit more.
Would you want to put it on Rydia, or would you want to put it on your White Mage Rosa?
It really, for me, it would depend on where the HP comes out at the end of the grinds. If Rydia is still in that questionable range, Rosa is going to have more HP at the same level, so it really would be determined by the HP amount on Rosa.
So Poidric picks up his Mopman, and Aizen is still with the Horseman grind.
And yes, Poidric is indeed going to do their D-Machine grind too. Aizen's still having trouble finding that specific D-Machine fight, so we'll see how well they are able to fare to start that grind.
This might be the last D-Machine for Chakasura. Runs out of MP with Fusoya. Did not initiate the underflow glitch beforehand.
It does have the option to either Psych Rydia or quite possibly could have Ether 2s or Ethers with the amount of money that they had earlier on. Yeah, we'll Ether 2 a Fu.
And yes, we do see Aizen Teyama with Tella in an actual grind. Tella, or Aizen, did not go up to the moon for a Fusoya, which means he's sticking with Tella.
And yeah, there we have 24 levels for Rosa, so she gets access to white. Looks like we're going to have a good amount of levels here. Palom gains Nuke. Looks like Rydia is going to get there as well, yes. So, Nuke for all of our characters.
I think at this point, are you good? Yeah, mid-50s. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good there. Rydia, if she receives the Adamant, will definitely be able to have enough survivability with about 1750 HP.
So the only character I don't think we've actually seen anywhere is Cecil. We haven't seen Cecil, and we haven't seen...
No, Cecil is the only one we haven't seen, so my guess would be probably at the end of the Giant there.
Either the end of the Giant or Evelyn, because we haven't been into Evelyn either.
That is correct.
Oh, and we do have our first winner, Zilch, just finished in first place with a time of 1:40.10. GG to Zilch there. I mean, this was the seed. We kind of knew it was going to be rough on the grind. Everyone's done it a little bit differently. Chakasura currently on his way right there and setting up Cure 4s and Whites to be bouncing those off. I think Chakasura is going to be right behind.
Yeah, getting all their spells set up, you will see just a massive amount of nukes and possibly Whites if you can afford to use Rosa for that, going off on the wall and checking his agility to decide who's going to be the best anchor for this battle.
Aizen finally getting that grind fight that he wants in a back attack. Poidric might have the setup right now.
Trenton did clear out some of Evelyn Castle to gain a few more levels. We'll see. Looks like he is not quite comfortable yet to head towards the Zarmos fight, so he's going to actually, I believe, go to maybe land some monsters or something, look for that trap chest for more experience.
Yeah, this is a case where Trenton had a pretty nice advantage there for a while, but opted to do the door grind, which is great when you have 10 key items because you can get up there, but there's just not enough trap doors to be able to get you all the way up to the levels that you need to be. Meanwhile, Chakasura, Poidric, and Aizen Teyama are all up doing the D-Machine grind, and they're able to get to it right away. So here goes Zeromus for Chakasura. Who are we going to see? Do we have any guesses? What's his true colors going to be?
I'm just hoping for someone I haven't seen yet, which is very possible with the number of sprites we have.
Absolutely. Our community has been great about submitting new sprite ideas and getting it all done for our community to get them into the game. So we're going to see what we have. Poidric did not quite get the fight he was looking for. He's also on a horseman. Trenton's going down is going to be fighting bosses. Oh man.
Dark Knight actually is not a bad boss here because it is
It's free. Yep.
Yeah, it's a free boss, even with the damage.
Ah!
And
very,
very nice.
The Gnat boss from Mario Paint, the little fly swatter game. And yep, we are using those nuke strats as we thought.
Yeah, the very nice thing about the wall strats is not only can you throw all these nukes at the boss without the counters, but you also will not trigger their HP refill because that's just kind of bypassed when you're reflecting everything. But is going to lose Rosa to this Big Bang, possibly.
Yep. And that's one that you got to get up almost immediately. You take a turn with Fu and Life Tour.
Absolutely. And definitely not a wasted turn by any means. But it looks like he's just going to throw a life with Rydia and then do a cure to heal the entire party rather than just life 2ing her back to full health.
All right, and here come the nuke strats. Aizen's still on his D-Machine grind. Poidric on a Horseman. Meanwhile, Trenton is grinding on Kanyatzo.
Yeah, pretty much exhausting all of his boss options to complete his grind. Porom still not at quite a comfortable position, being his only healer, so is definitely trying to get her some more levels.
So ditching Porom for Rosa when you could is turning out to be an advantage in this race. And going ahead and doing D-Machine grind, even though you may not necessarily be comfortable with it, certainly has played into Chakasura's advantage at this point. Zilch is still the only runner who has finished. Chakasura may end up this race in second.
Yeah, Fu reapplying a wall there on himself, and unfortunately gets black hole right afterwards, so we'll have to reapply.
Wah, 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 wah.
Aizen still working on their D-Machine grind at this point, and still rough time finding it for Poidric. I have to believe that Choco is getting really close to getting into that media phase by Natimus, as we have it.
Well, and he's not. I don't know if he's ever going to get to medio phase if you skip the HP refill, do you?
I actually am not sure because I never actually go this direction with it, so does get a Big Bang here, but health is definitely in the good vicinity.
If you skill the, there's no media. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think so. So we're looking at possibly no medio phase for Natimus if he continues using reflex strats.
having to reset up his party. He does need the healing and the wall backup on Kane, so we'll do that first. Is doing a very good job of really spacing his attacks to ensure that he does not have a nuke sort of set on Kane when Black Hole happens, because then it's a matter of catching up and bringing him back to life and everything else before you can continue on.
Yeah, he's been very patient in this boss fight, so kudos to him, and he is rewarded. Done. Chakasura does finish in second place, an official time of 1:49:02.
Your GG's out, everyone. What a fight from Chakasura there. Still do have some of our grinding going on with our other three runners. Trenton in his Kenaza fight, and Eisen and Poydrick both grinding against the Searchers. Eisen does have the D-Machine grind. Poydrick still finding the wrong Searcher with the Horseman.
And Mortale Mago finished in third place in 1:50:25, so just not too far off the Sura. Alright, so we're going to try to get Chakasura in here for a quick chat.
And we do have Zirak in fourth place, a time of 1 hour 50 minutes 48 seconds.
It sounds like this was effectively a 17-17 seed for most of our runners, just because of trying to grind. Trenton has tried to avoid doing 17-17, and he's just not found a good place to grind is the problem. You're kind of forced to do D-Machine unless you full clear the rest of the game.
And it does look at this point like he is setting up his party to go ahead and head up towards Zermis, so we will see how that ends up working out. So, looks like Trenton is going to check out this armor shop, see if he can't find anything for Palom. Nothing there, it seems, but he is going to exit, and I believe he will be making his way onto Zeramis. And it looks like Eisen is, for the most part, accepting of where they are at with their levels. Really good levels there with Rosa and Palom having decent HP. Tella is going to be Tella anyway. So, looks like Eisen is also ready to head up towards Zeramis.
And I believe joining us right now is Chakasura. GG.
GG.
So how'd you like that that wonderful just put the D crystal at the very end, so your only decent grind option was at the end of a 17-17.
Oh my god. I was literally freaking out. I saw key item after key item. After I found the crystal and the pass, I'm sitting here like, where is the darkness crystal? And finally got it and decided to grind. I wanted to try reflex strats for that fight too, so that's why I kind of ditched everybody and kept who I had. I was also looking for a Fu in the process. I figured if he wasn't at the package, he was on the moon. So
yeah, I've seen pretty much everyone except Cecil in the seed, so definitely a good guess that Fu could have been at his vanilla spot, and definitely paid dividends for you being able to have him for the D machine grind there.
Oh, definitely. I kind of didn't want to use Teller, but if I had no choice, then I would have went with it, since I could glitch his MP. But I would rather have someone with more HP during this fight. So that's mainly the reason why I went to the moon before I decided to grind, to see if I can find food.
So help me out here. And I'm only one runner on stream actually glitched to skip the sealed cave and get that item from the dwarf castle. Did you do that?
You know what? Every time there's a seed without the G flag, I forget to do that glitch. Every single time. I don't know why. I keep forgetting it.
You weren't alone. You weren't alone. Everyone did.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't realize until I got to the sealed cave. I'm sitting here thinking I could have just used the warp glitch in Dwarf Castle. Why didn't I do that? Would have saved me a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know. I forget every time about that glitch. I guess I'm just used to running with G flag on.
Well, I think most people are, so
Yeah.
you weren't alone at all. Just to keep everyone updated, we got a tight race. Both Trenton and Aizen Teyama are both on Zeromus right now, or Natomus, if you will.
Ah, should be good.
Now, other than the general issues that you're going to have with flags like these, not having grade items, or you know, the ability to use J items and stuff like that, did you really feel hung up other than it being a 17-17 seed at any specific point? Because it looked like you flowed through pretty easily.
Nah, I was feeling pretty confident without the J items, really. At times I did forget that they didn't exist, but it didn't really hinder me. Plus I had a decent team too, especially when I found Bahamut and Evan Castle.
Yeah, that actually turned out to be a good advantage because none of our other runners did have that, so that was an ability to take out a lot of bosses a lot easier.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we do have two more finishers. Well, Rumblefish82 with a time of 157.18, and Simbu right behind with a time of 157.32 in 6th place. So some of our runners starting to come in here.
But yeah, I mainly went to Evan Castle just to get some extra experience, to be honest. You know, seeing as, you know, no sirens, and I had to do something with my team.
Well, and that's where you found Bahamut too, and that helped Rydia quite a bit in some of those early
I had a
boss
huge
fights.
smile on my face when I found that.
Yeah, definitely at that point, Rydia worth keeping, especially since it looked pretty much like, you know, 30-40 minutes into that seed that you made the decision. I have a bunch of mages, so I'm just gonna run with this team to the end. So finding that Viridia, knowing that you probably aren't going to be getting rid of her, is definitely a great advantage.
To be honest, my plan was to run with a team of mages through this seed from the very beginning. I just had to find it. I wanted to do Reflex Strax on Z. That's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, this seed sets you up pretty easy. Start off with the Wonder Twins, so and just rolled from there.
Yeah, definitely.
So both Eisen and Trenton having a little bit of difficulty here with Natimus losing some of their characters, so they will have to take a little bit of time to bring them back up. Trenton with Porum and Palom both being relatively low on HP does have to manage how he handles this fight a little more carefully.
Yeah, just to explain, Taco, Eisen was right there with you.
Oh, really?
Right. He was, but he couldn't get the D Machine grind to start. I mean, 5, 6, 7 false start. But it was the fight, and then it was a horseman, and then it was a back attack he had to reset out of.
Right.
So he was right there for a lot of it. Trenton opted not to do. He was the only one who did the glitch to get the item out of the sealed cave that way. I mean, it didn't really matter because you guys got the pass.
Right.
But then he opted to do the Luca cave, the sealed cave door grind, and there were just a few doors short to really do it. So he spent the rest of his time just running around trying to fight bosses to get experience.
You know, I was thinking about doing doors, but you know, without the double experience, it's kind of slow, in my opinion. And since there's only so many of them.
Yeah, he definitely did exit with a very low amount of experience, only in the mid-40s, and now is still struggling here with Natimus down to just Kane and Sid.
So at what point did you think this is probably going to be a 17 as a 17 seed?
When I was an hour and 30-something minutes in and I didn't see a dot done, pretty much, I knew it was going to be 17 out of 17. I found every other key item but the Darkness Crystal. So I said to myself, well, this is a 17 out of 17 seed for sure.
Well, and Poydrick looks like he's got a nice rhythm for his D Machine fight right now, so he's not going to be too far behind these guys.
No, and the fact that he did go to the moon to grab Fusoya as well, he'll be in a little bit better situation because he will have a higher HP mage there to assist in the battle.
Now, speaking of that D Machine grind, I kind of regret putting that adamant armor on Fu right there because his turns weren't syncing up with the others. He was going faster than some of my other characters, and I was having a little issue trying to figure out, you know, who was gonna go right before him. So I had to skip his turns just to cycle back to him. So yeah, that's a little mistake I made there. It all worked out though.
Oh man, and Eisen, for the second time so far that I've seen in this battle, or he actually chose to nuke Natimus directly instead of trying to do a wall strat, but earlier did have the black hole go off right before a white, so he did take out Yang, but is opting just to go ahead and directly attack Natimus and just take the nukes.
This is going to be close between these two.
Alright, well, I'm going to watch the rest of the racers.
All right, thank you. everyone, Chakasura, if you like what you saw from him, go ahead and give him a follow here on Twitch. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And GG.
GG. GG.
And it looks like Trenton chose to resetting his forearm. Looks like we'll not be using her at all for healing, going with the heroin robe. So we'll probably be using a bunch of Cure 3s and choosing to put the adamant armor on Kane.
Yeah, probably going to use Palom to throw around some Cure 3s. Is Palom, I mean, they're both still pretty low level right now. Man, I mean, he can either just bum rush this or go another. Eisen is holding strong, but man, this is tough.
Yeah, Eisen trying to do as much as possible to hold their head above water to get through this. Brings back Palom and will continue just nuking as much of Natomis as possible. It looks like Poidric is done with their grind, and looking at their HP levels, I think that they're in a decent position for their battle, a little bit higher than Chakasura even was. So they may be set up for a good final battle with Zermus as well.
Eisen hanging on for dear life. Black hole. I mean, at this point, you're not walled. You're not zerked. So hey, black hole.
Yeah, it's a nice break from having to worry about constantly getting heals, and does get a nuke there, but fortunately it's on Yang, so does give the Berserk to Yang to give a little bit more damage output too. So just really biding his time until he can get to the Meteor phase here.
Just one step at a time. Poidric is on his way. I think Poidric's in a really solid spot. He's not going to have the same sort of level issues that Eisen or Trenton have been having up to this point in time.
Now, so Trenton is going to have his second go here at Zermus with a slightly different setup. Looks like he's immediately going to be virusing to nerf at least his first Big Bang, and there is the Meteor phase on Eisen's side, so Eisen will be finishing up here momentarily. Poidric is sorting out their magic right now, and there is the finish from Eisen. Official SRL time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, 41 seconds. Get your GGs out, everyone. Way to stick it out there for that battle.
Yeah, that was a rough one from the rough seed overall. We'll see if we can get him. And we're joined now by Eisen Teyama. GG.
You hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
All right, hold on one second. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we do have Poidric using his pass, and going to be heading towards the Zeramus fight. As we said, definitely within a good level range to be able to handle this fight without too much issue. Has two physical fighters, and one black mage, one white mage, and then Kasoya, who can really perform as either. So we'll see how they elect to go about this battle. And it looks like Trenton is getting another big bang, and that will take out Porum as well, so he is back down to just his 3 fighters. We'll need to rely on them for all this healing right now, unless he is able to get Porum back up with a life, but Yang is currently, well, was berserked, but we'll lose that with the Black Hole.
Poydrick looks to be set up. Oh yeah, he's in great shape. The only person side that I would be worried about is Rydia, I think, at this point. And I don't know who has his adamant armor at this point in time, but he's in great shape.
Yeah, unfortunately did not get the slow off from Rosa before the Big Bang, so there is a chance this nuke will hit someone, and it does hit Fu, so it will take Fu out before he's able to be healed, and it looks like with that damage roll that Fu is the one with the adamant armor on. Alright, and I believe we have Eisen back, so good game. Definitely an interesting Zarmus fight for you.
Yeah. The black holes were timing for him.
We saw that a little bit. Tell me a little bit, you know, at what point did you realize I'm going to have to go 17 to 17 to get my...
When I got left, when I got the rat tail, then when I saw what I had left item-wise, I realized it was going to be Hook into rat tail into Twin Heart. Because otherwise none of those items could have been left out for the pass.
Did you pretty much decide, even with the Lukahi, that because of the experience flag and everything else, that you were going to do the D-Machine grind rather than try to use perhaps the trapdoors for your leveling?
Yeah, without the double experience, I didn't want to go through that because it would have been really slow. Then again, my D-Machine grind didn't go as well as I hoped.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were right there with Chakasura, who ended up finishing in 2nd place overall. He just managed to get the fight kind of right off the bat, as in the Giant, who had a little bit of struggle there. You got some back attacks, and you got some horseman fights, and a little bit rough getting that set up.
Yeah, generally I don't have a problem even if I don't follow the map, which I couldn't find, but this time it just didn't work out right.
So Trenton going to take another big bang here from Nadamus. Looks like it's going to take out Kane and leave him with just Yang. So not in a good position. Again, Fu and Rydia down on Poydrick's side. And yeah, a nuke raid afterwards. Yang down to minimal HP at this point.
And I do see in SRL, yeah, we're gonna. He's gonna take another death here, and I believe on SRL, Trenton has forfeited from the race. He said, unfortunately, life calls. He cannot go on. So GG to Trenton. That was rough. You were right there, man. If you're watching this on the playback, we thought you were in the lead for like a large portion of this, but it was doing Trenton the door grind and then just short experience. Only got to the mid 40s with the doors. Couldn't really go anywhere else.
So another question for you, Eisen, since you got to run through this very long seed, what do you think about flags like these that are a little different from what we normally see run with, being able to use glitches? Actually, 3 of our 4 runners that you included did not use the warp glitch to get the item out of the sealed cave. But what do you think about flags like these that you don't get to play as often?
Well, that's part of the issue. I totally forgot about that as a glitch, the warp glitch. But that would have saved a lot of time. I don't know. Not having the Japanese items kind of makes it different because I've been using those a lot through the 32 flags and kind of not used to not having them.
Yeah, that's what we kind of assumed is just when you don't play with a flag for so long, or in this case, when you do play with a flag for so long, you tend to forget just small things like that warp glitch. When you don't use it often, you may sit there and immediately think of stuff like the the MP underflow and the dupe glitch, but warping out of Dwarf Castle instead of just habitually holding down is definitely one that a lot of runners probably forget about.
Yeah, I didn't remember the item duplication too much either, but I didn't really need it.
And
wasn't a whole lot of buying anything, yeah.
Yeah, and there we go on Poidric's side, able to take down Natimus as well. Official SRL time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, 28 seconds. So get your GGs out. Is the last of our runners to finish, and we will see if we can get them in here as well.
Poidric, how are you feeling after that? Hello. All right. Well, Poidric will join us shortly as soon as he can.
All right, well, I'm out, so...
All right. Well, thank you so much. Eisen Teyama, if you liked what you saw from him, go ahead and give him a follow here on Twitch. Thank you so much, Eisen, for running with us.
Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Just dealing with some behind-the-scenes issues. Let's see if we can't get things fixed. But yeah, this whole seed from start to finish, I mean, it didn't seem like it was going to be all that difficult, but grind was just the most difficult part, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much what we expected from the get-go. We knew we didn't have Japanese items, and not having that double experience definitely slows up the grinding itself. Even with the D-Machine grind, we saw that our runners spent quite a bit of time in there to ensure that they got that massive amount of experience they did to gain all the levels. So definitely a long grind there.
Absolutely. And I think Poidric is now with us. Can you hear us? Okay.
Voidrick, are you able to hear either one of us?
So while we're still working on this, Crimson, what was the most entertainment part of this scene from your perspective?
I have to say, just seeing the runners elect to continue to try to dive for the Dark Crystal definitely seemed to be the more advantageous route just for that D Machine grind. But I would say the fact that we were searching 17 out of 17, not to find the crystal, but to find the Dark Crystal, was one of the most interesting parts.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of play off that, but to me, the most interesting thing was just seeing the massive difference in how much experience you're gaining in this particular scene, knowing that you're not going to get the double XP with 10 key items between doing the D Machine grind and doing the door grind. It took a little bit of time to set up, but once you got it set up, man, that D Machine grind, even with not double experience, still went pretty darn fast. And in a setup like this, knowing that you're probably not going to get your full levels from doing the door grind, I like doing the door grind myself. I might rethink my strategies from now on, just because it just side by side was so easy as a runner.
All right, and it looks like we aren't going to be able to get Poidrick in, just trying to work through a few Discord issues. So we'll try to get it sorted out to where they can join us next time. But once again, good game to all of our runners. Be sure to give all of them a follow. Put on quite a show with these extremely deceptively difficult flags tonight. So be sure to do that.
Absolutely. And if you want to play Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise yourself, we will have links in the chat description as well. We've been linking up all night. There is more Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise going on all this weekend. Tomorrow, we have 3 of our league matches going at 7 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have Swimmy Leone, Ginger Damas, Couch 23, and Invenerable going on at 7 o'clock Eastern over on RPG Limit Break. At 9 o'clock Eastern over on Speed Gaming. I think the original, we're going to have Chakasura, who won second place tonight, The Fizz, Dusty Griff, and Muppets in Space. That's going to be at 9 o'clock. And then at 9:30 Eastern tomorrow on RPG Limit Break, it's going to be Hippos, Demarin 2, Couch 23, and then some scrub by the name of Vitasia that, he's horrible.
It should be interesting. I have really enjoyed the league races so far, so that should be, all of them should be good ones to watch.
Absolutely, and of course, there's more races going on. I mean, we have races just about every day for the rest of the month. We're winding down this part of the league. But man, it's just been a blast getting through this, and there's so much Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. It's the new hotness in randomizers. You should get in on it.
Oh, definitely. It's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed playing it so far. Just some other notes, because we are on Speed Gaming, so just a few things going on. Over on Speed Gaming 2, we do have our Metroid Marathon on all night, so if you enjoyed Metroid, you can check that out. On Speed Gaming, we have Crypt of the Necromancer. We have some Zelda 1 randomizer action happening on Speed Gaming 6 and Speed Gaming 3 coming up here in about 30 minutes. Someone by the name of Crimson Avix is going to be in that race, so that should be interesting. Speed Gaming 5 has some Link to the Past randomizer, the daily standard race going on, and here on Speed Gaming 4, in about an hour and a half, we have the Super Metroid Weekly race. So definitely should be very entertaining to watch all the Speed Gaming networks tonight.
Absolutely. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Big shout out to, Crimson had to pull double duty, so give him a double follow here if you can. Helping me out on comms, but also doing our tracking tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, Crim.
Oh, absolutely. It was a blast. Even at last minute, I really enjoyed calling this with you. So also be sure to follow Vitasia and look forward to seeing you do some more of these tournament races here, and of course all the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise weeklies that we have going on.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Go ahead, and if you have not tried it, go to the website, and we will see you guys at the next race. Have a great rest of your day.
Good night, everyone.